Okay, I was only going to read one, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do two tonight, just because I love you. So there. So we're going to read Annie and the Wild Animals, written and illustrated by Jan Brett. You know, a really cool thing about her books, I'll show you once we get inside, but you see all these pictures that she has up here? It kind of tells you a little bit about what's going to happen next in her stories. So if you pay attention to the other pictures around and not just the one right here, it kind of helps you predict what's going to happen next in the story. So see if you can do that. So, Annie and the Wild Animals. It had been snowing for days. Winter was lasting too long. Something was wrong with Annie's cat. Taffy had stopped playing. She ate more than usual. She slept all day long. Annie found her curled up in strange places. See where she's sleeping? She's sleeping in all these different places. One morning, Annie could not find Taffy anywhere. She looked and looked, but Taffy was gone. Annie was very lonely. I need a new friend, thought Annie. What's going to happen? She placed a corn cake at the edge of the wood. She imagined that a small, furry animal would come and she would tame him for a pet. What do you think's going to come? I know what I see. What is it? The next morning, the corn cake was gone. In its place stood a giant moose. Did you guess it? Did you guess it by the picture? What's going to happen? He's too big to tame, thought Annie. I'll have to try again. That night, Annie left another corn cake at the edge of the wood. The next morning, the moose was back, and a snarling wildcat was there too. He's too mean to tame, thought Annie. Annie placed more corn cakes at the edge of the wood. What's coming up? Can you tell? The next morning, a big, growling bear was there with the moose and the wild cat. What's going to come up? What is it? He's too grumpy for a pet, thought Annie. Annie made as many corn cakes as she could and left them at the edge of the wood. Who's that right there? At dawn, Annie heard the snarls and growls of the wild animals. There was Moose, and the wildcat, and a bear, and now a deer. They had been joined by a stag and his family, and a large gray wolf. Not one of them is soft and friendly like Taffy, thought Annie. Oops, sorry. All the next day, Annie made corn cakes and left them at the edge of the wood. All night long, she heard the sounds of the wild animals eating the corn cakes. Annie awoke to find a great nose stuck through her window. It belonged to the moose, who was still hungry. There were wild animals everywhere. They roared for their next meal. The little house shook. Oh my goodness, bobcat and bear and deer, wolf, big old giant moose. The animals wanted more corn cakes, but when Annie looked into the barrel of cornmeal, it was empty. She couldn't make any more corn cakes. Annie was very sad. She would never find a pet now. She missed Taffy very much. That's the cat right there. All that night, a warm breeze blew from the south. The snow melted, and new buds could be seen on the plants and trees. The wood was coming alive again. By the next morning, the wild animals had gone back to the wood. They would find food there, now that spring had finally come. Then, as unexpected as the warm spring breeze, Taffy walked proudly into the yard. "Taffy!" Annie exclaimed. "You have come home! Where have you been?" Taffy turned and looked back the way she had come. What do you think it is? Is she gonna bring home like a little mouse or something? What do you think? I wonder what it is. What did she have? Out of the wood came 3 soft and friendly kittens. Annie would never be lonely anymore. Taffy had babies. Aw, that's why she was eating and sleeping. Aw, all right. Jambrette, remember, look around. And it tells you, I love you. Good night.